Assassin's Creed is a modern game series that has sold millions of copies and is loved and hated by people around the world. But whoever you are, we have a few little interesting factoids about the series that you might want to hear. Starting off with number 10, the Animus has been an essential pillar of Assassin's Creed lore since the beginning, but the machine's origins actually go back to some pretty interesting psychological concepts created by Carl Jung in the early 20th century. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist and psychotherapist who pioneered the concept of the collective unconscious, the idea that thoughts, ancestral memories, or patterns could be shared between unconscious minds. The concept also uses words like anima and animus to refer to various altered states, which is where the game's machines got the inspiration for their name from. Granted, this is taken to an extreme in the Assassin's Creed lore, having memories and the past between generations accessible via the machine, which is still a pretty cool concept and worked out well for the game's many iterations throughout the years. At least that's coming from us, the people who enjoy the current day storylines in the games. But at number 9, a quickie for you, a fun little crossover from other Ubisoft games. In the modern day segments of Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, you see a lot of vehicles on the streets that were actually created and featured in the 2005 title Driver Parallel Lines. You can just see them out and about on the streets as well as in the Abstergo parking garage. It's a small thing, but it's definitely one that can very easily go unnoticed. It's just a clever reuse of assets no one would really care about that we just found kind of clever, especially as Driver fans. Remember those games? God. But next at number 8, swinging back around to the origin of Assassin's Creed as a series, it's reportedly based on Slovenian writer Vladimir Bartol's book Alamut. The first entry in the series specifically is deeply inspired by the novel and its plot, with many of the core elements and story beats being incredibly similar when you look at them. Hell, the series' mantra and creed of the Assassin's Brotherhood, nothing is true, everything is permitted, is even an alternate translation of a phrase from the novel, initially translated as nothing is an absolute reality, all is permitted. It doesn't sound as sexy, but you can definitely see where it came from. But next at number 7, switching back to dumb little things, Assassin's Creed had Desmond voiced by an industry favorite Nolan North as Desmond Miles, but they had someone who's a lot bigger now do the voice of Lucy Stillman. Kristen Bell, who we all know from movies like Frozen and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, during her earlier Veronica Mars days, she lent her voice and likeness to Lucy Stillman for 3 games in the series. And as you know, Stillman was a pretty important character. But it's just very strange to look back and see such a big celebrity in a more low-key video game role. It wasn't even really blown up to promote the games or anything. It's just a little fact that we wanted to bring up just because it seems like people forget about that. Word on the street was that Kristen Bell is actually a pretty big fan of gaming, so it's cool to see someone that actually appreciates the art actually getting to contribute to it. Now, next at number 6, hang on, let's talk about the Assassin's Creed movie. It's easy to just assume that the big stunts and blockbusters in movies are always CGI or wire assisted these days, but for that massive leap of faith in the Assassin's Creed movie, director Justin Kurzel wanted to go for realism and had British stuntman Damien Walters take a 125-foot free fall from a platform suspended by 2 cranes, becoming right away one of the highest free falls done by a stuntman in almost 35 years. The stuntman Damien Walters said, and I quote, "We started at 70 feet, went to 80, 90, 100, 110, and then 125. When I did the 110 foot, Justin was like, you don't need to go to 125 feet if you don't want to. And I went, nope, it's fine, I'm happy. And he's like, well, if you're happy, let's do it. I even wanted to go a bit higher when we did that. I think the next one would be very cool if we did a higher jump, but off of real churches. If you loved movies and the art of making movies, it's an incredible stunt to consider doing practically. And while the movie was so-so, the stunt work, especially there, still stands out in my opinion. Some of the combat and climbing stuff really did the series justice. Now next at number 5, out of all the playable assassins we've seen across the years and numerous Assassin's Creed titles, Ezio Auditore is the one that not only popped up the most, but the one we've gotten to play as the most, and for good reason. We got to play as him in Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, and then there's the animated short film Assassin's Creed Embers that he pops up in as well, but he also popped up in a game that is an entirely different series. Soul Calibur, the series that was famous for including characters that exist outside of the Soul Calibur franchise, included Ezio, specifically in Soul Calibur 5. He was a full playable character with his own moveset and voice, and it was pretty cool seeing that Ezio, like we said, is one of the more memorable characters in Assassin's Creed. It was nice to see him pop up in a different game. There's been a lot of weird Assassin's Creed franchise crossovers, most notably recently Final Fantasy 15. But not only that, a lot of people forget about this in the opposite way. You can actually unlock a Raiden skin from Metal Gear Solid 4 in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. What a weird time that was. Now, next at number 4, the ability to crouch in a game about stealth and assassination may come as a no-brainer, but it was a big deal when you could do it fully in Assassin's Creed Unity. But to build that feature into a game like AC Unity, the series' first entry to be built from the ground up for PS4 and Xbox One generation, it was apparently a big, huge coding job that reportedly required 6 million lines of code. And while people have a lot of things to say about Unity, both good and bad, the fact that so much effort went into something that is so often overlooked is wild. Making games is still a wild and crazy, fascinating thing if you're on the outside looking in, and I think this is a really good example of that. Now, coming down to number 3, swinging back to that Assassin's Creed movie, you know, the one with Michael Fassbender, well, it turns out that that actually takes place within the same universe as the games. The wacky, claw-like Animus from the movie was actually designed by Layla Hassan, the current-day hero you play as in both Origins and Odyssey. In Origins, you can find emails between Leia and Sophia Riken, who's played by Marion Cotillard in the movie, and in those emails, they're talking about prototyping the design of that Animus. There are also references to Alan Riken, another character from the Assassin's Creed movie, the father of Marion Cotillard's character, and it's just cool to know that the canon goes out of the game into comics and even this big budget movie. We just really appreciated that. Now at number 2, speaking of shared universes, it's pretty much confirmed at this point that Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed exist within the same universe. Both games have referenced the other more than once, but the biggest connection is in Assassin's Creed Origins. But it started way back in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. In Black Flag, you hear about Oliver Garneau, the CEO of Abstergo Entertainment, going missing on his way to a shareholder meeting in Chicago. And I guess it's just assumed that he was killed by a member of the Assassins. But in Assassin's Creed Origins, when browsing Layla's laptop, you can actually stumble upon an image of Aiden Pierce, the playable character from Watch Dogs, gunning Oliver down in the street. And in Watch Dogs, during the mission Resquiat in Pace, a reference to Assassin's Creed 2, you actually hunt down and kill that character Oliver. Assassin's Creed scriptwriter Darby McDevitt has gone on record saying that this is only an Easter egg and it's not canon, but I like to think he's lying because there are some serious Easter eggs and I can 100% see DedSec being some sort of offshoot of the Assassin's Brotherhood. But who knows, that's just food for thought. We like to have fun and speculate. But finally at number 1, before Assassin's Creed was Assassin's Creed, it was actually gonna be a new Prince of Persia game called Prince of Persia Assassins. The game actually had you playing as the prince's bodyguard and not the prince himself, and it was actually set to be a pretty co-op heavy experience. You played as an assassin that was part of this assassin order, which I'm sure sounds pretty familiar, and it didn't make it too far into development before getting canned by Ubisoft because it just didn't focus on the prince. So instead of that Assassin's-based game, they flipped it and we got Assassin's Creed, which is cool and all, but I would have loved to have seen a weird take on a Prince of Persia spin-off like that. And then maybe have the two series converge into like a weird crossover game or something. I don't know. I feel like that would be pretty cool. It's also worth noting you were able to unlock Ezio as a playable character in 2010's The Forgotten Sands, which is fun, but I'm still talking like a real crossover. Considering we've seen little things here and there, like the nods we mentioned earlier with Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, and then also Splinter Cell in Assassin's Creed, I really think anything's possible. But these are some little facts we wanted you to know about Assassin's Creed, some stuff you may not have known otherwise. Assassin's Creed, honestly, in our research, didn't have the deepest history in terms of like hidden facts or secrets, but we thought these were pretty cool. So we want to hear from you guys down in the comments what you think about Assassin's Creed in general, what your favorite game in the series was, and basically who your favorite character or assassin is. Even if you don't love the game the most, who's your favorite assassin? And let's talk about anything Assassin's Creed down in the comments. We'll be down there talking to you guys, but of course, if you like this video and learned something, clicking the like button helps us out a ton, and we really appreciate it. But if you're new, you should consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.